Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Conversation with Shu Yi. Now in today's episode, we have a very special guest who is a very renowned feng shui master back in Singapore, Max Liang. Now Max discovered feng shui through a very unique experience because of her love for her daughter. Now with his skills and expertise, Max managed to turn loss-making businesses into profit within just 3 months. And his record was to grow a company to 20 million ringgit turnover in just 3 years. Today, Max Liang has consulted major clients from Singapore, Hong Kong, China, Vietnam, and Malaysia. And in today's episode, Max will be talking to us about how to attract wealth into your life. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Max Liang and let us just dive directly into this interview. Enjoy. Welcome to the show. So I know that you have been in the feng shui industry for more than 11 years. So could you just share with us how did this entrepreneurship journey actually begin? Or have you ever thought of being in this industry even at the first place?
Actually, no. I studied science previously, and I've been always interested in science. So after a few years of corporate life, I find that I'm actually not suited for corporate life because it's too rigid. And so thereafter, working for a few years, I came out. I did quite a few other businesses, such as dealing with probiotics, IT, as well as human resource. But in the end, I'm still trying to find out what actually fits me. So the whole foray into feng shui came quite an accident actually, because I was actually born with certain clairvoyance. So I can sense energy around me. I can sense the energy that's in the environment. And what happened is in 2007, my daughter was born, and I could actually sense her, and I could actually feel her. So she very likely inherited this clairvoyance from me. And well, it is actually a pain not knowing how to deal with it when you're young. So I do really want to help my daughter to solve a problem. And that's where I went into the metaphysics. Now, I've done quite a lot. I did Bazi, numerology, feng shui, and it's almost everything out there. And I'm just looking for the tool to actually help my daughter. But what really come to me is that I couldn't find a good tool to actually help me solve my daughter's problem, solve my problem, and move on from there. Then out of desperation, I actually went into research, and I came up with a technique using numerology, and I moved on from there. So it wasn't something that I wanted to do way at the beginning because I'm very scientific in my mind. But then because of the exposure, getting in touch with the metaphysics for a couple of years, basically it becomes quite natural to me.
Right. So it was actually your daughter who motivates you, that gets you into this field. Is it right?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So when you first started this journey, right, what were some of the challenges that you have faced in this entrepreneurship journey?
Basically because feng shui masters have always been regarded as some old men, having done it for a long time. And to me, I appeared very young and experienced to most of my clients. So what I really need to do is to actually go at it, and then really put in effort to create results on them. And in fact, with the technique that I employ, we are able to create massive results for our clients. And in fact, some of my clients, I even bring them from the brink of bankruptcy all the way to creating 20,000 ringgit turnover within a span of 3 years. So it is that powerful only if the clients were to follow the way or the method to get to it.
Right. So talking about starting out in this journey, right? I understand that like we all face objections like you're being too young, like being a feng shui master, you need to be like the old man in order for people to perceive you as the expert in your field. So when you first started out at this age, at such a young age, how do you actually position yourself so that your clients actually trust you and want to be able, want to work with you?
Basically, I really have to get at it. I really have to work hard, show them that I can actually deliver the results, actually really creates the KPI for them, meaning they employ my service, they wanted to see monetary returns in terms of revenue, in terms of profit. So I find all ways and means to actually create that sort of results for them. And I'm pretty lucky. Yeah, has been doing well for the past decade.
Right. So basically, to sum it up, it's more towards results speaks louder than words, right? So at the end of the day, it's all about creating results. Okay,
Right.
interesting. Yeah. So when we see a lot of like successful entrepreneurs like you, right, what we see is the successful part whereby you attract a lot of clients, you help clients to break through to get results that they want. But what people tend to ignore is where you go through certain challenges or low point in your life. So if I may ask, what would be your lowest point in your life? What were the points that you feel like you just can't take it anymore and you want to change?
Well, as you know, the normal perception of people is that feng shui master has to be, of a certain age and
Yeah.
certain experience, and I turned out to be pretty young and pretty inexperienced to them. So at the beginning, to get clients was really tough, and um, I was trying different ways, different methods to actually acquire clients, but then none seems to work. And well, one day I do realize I come across one of the boss that I met who actually brought me to China, and that was actually the steps that brought opened up my path. But during that period of time, money was an issue. I couldn't earn enough. I couldn't bring the bacon back home. I couldn't prove myself that my technique is good. I couldn't tell anybody that what I'm doing is actually legit, and I get a lot of skepticism and a suspicion from even my own family. So there was
Yeah.
a time whereby I felt totally lost without any support, without any kind of light in front of me to actually drive me forward.
So what was the drive that eventually pull you back up and allows you to keep on moving forward?
I guess it was, wanting to do it for my daughter. It was actually, my daughter and my daughter alone. And even if I were to, suffer from any kind of setback, once I look at my daughter, it helps me to spur me on and push me on forward. And I guess that is the main motivation for me. That is the main thing that's actually driving me forward. And as I go on for a couple of years, slowly through word of mouth, I get more and more clients, and things get easier. So that was actually a path that I really have to you know recover from.
Right, I understand. So I really love your story about how your daughter actually inspires you to move out from that darkness in you. So for all the entrepreneurs out there who's starting on this entrepreneurship journey, you and I both know that it's not easy for us to start an entrepreneurship journey. So what is your main advice for people who are in their lowest point in their life, and how do they actually get back up?
I guess we as entrepreneurs, we have to face a lot of uncertainty in whatever we do every single day. Money is actually a main issue. Whether you get your, in a job, you get the next paycheck is very much there at the end of the month. but then as an entrepreneur, you don't know where is your next paycheck going to come in. So that was the main issue. Secondly is when you're doing a kind of business that doesn't have support from families or friends, it gets a lot demoralizing, and you really have to believe in what you are doing, and you have to believe that what you're doing is actually helpful and it works and benefits your clients. So I guess the combination of the perseverance, self-motivation and sticking through it actually helps for most of us.
Right. Talking about motivation, because I know your motivation comes from your daughter, but what about someone who doesn't have a daughter? How do they actually find motivation to get back up from their failures?
Well, for them, I would say that what do they believe in? What is in their heart? Whether if they believe that it could actually bring benefit to people, it helps people, is able to make the world better, go for it. I mean, if you're solely going, into the business, looking for money alone, it may not drive you that much. But then if you are passionate about helping people and making things better, I guess that would be a better motivation.
Right. Now, I really love your point about that because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they go into this journey, it's all about they want to make money fast. But then the truth is, entrepreneurship is actually more than that. Because if you really go into entrepreneurship just by wanting to make money, right, that motivation will eventually dies off, and then your journey will end there. So I really agree with you for that. Yeah. Okay. And then just now you mentioned that by using feng shui metaphysics, right, you actually help one of your clients to go from bankruptcy all the way to earning a lot of money. So what would be your one key to actually attract wealth in life by using feng shui?
I guess the whole idea is that the mindset has to be positive. All right, we have to take action. Now, a lot of times we get a lot of clients who actually wanted results, but they are not taking action to achieve it. So taking action is actually something which actually helps to, is actually the main thing in attracting wealth. The other thing is that we need support from other people as well. Now, being alone, we can't really do much in our work or in our business. So we do need supporters to actually help us to drive the business or to create wealth in a concerted effort. Now, I mean, we have looked at so many corporations that, the founders actually brought their friends into the company and they actually grow the company together. I have yet to hear of anybody who is able to do it all by themselves, all alone.
Right. Okay. So if I get you right, the first thing is for you to take massive action because you need to take action for you to get the results. Then number two is that you need to have a support in order for you to move further in your life. Right. So
yes, that's right.
What is the other way besides these two for you to attract wealth in your in one's life?
What are the other ways?
Like you use feng shui to help your clients to go from bankruptcy to earning a certain figure in their business. So could you share with us like a brief idea on how do you actually use feng shui to help them?
Oh, okay. I don't just do feng shui alone. I do face reading and numerology. And what I do is that I look at what is their luck cycle, what is the opportunity out there for them, what is the best career, what is the best kind of business that they should be actually involved in. And with that combination of multiple aspects, we get them to basically do what is actually suitable for them. And of course, with the knowing their strength and weakness, we basically guide them to take the correct action to achieve the targeted results along the way. So it's a stepwise process that we go and see that they are moving towards the target that they actually set for themselves.
Right. Okay. Now, talking about feng shui, and in this industry of metaphysics, I know a lot of people out there, they are really skeptical about this business, whether it is true or not, whether this thing can work or not. I know a lot of people, they have this kind of belief out there. So as a master yourself, how did you actually manage this skepticism, and how did you actually convince your client that this is actually for them?
All right. The first thing that I need to do is how their belief system, how strong is their belief system. If they are, way deep into the belief that feng shui is, conjure or, a fast, then I wouldn't even try to convince them. But most of the time, for most of the clients that actually come to me, I would actually educate them on what is actually feng shui and what it actually entails. It's basically environmental energy, it's actually the energy around us, it's actually our own energy, our personal energy. And the combination of the environment and ourselves together with the right timing, we basically achieve the massive results that we want. So we need to put in a lot of effort to educate them that it's not religious, it's nothing to do with religion, and it's something that we could actually utilize as a tool to actually help us, to achieve the results that we want.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. So right now, I just have one last question for you. And I believe that this question is a question that a lot of people are desire to know this question right now. So this question is, seeing the condition of the COVID-19 right now, a lot of businesses, they lose a lot of clients, and even in Malaysia, we are restricted to just stay at home and not moving out of our home. So I'd just like to ask, from your opinion, what can someone actually do about this to attract wealth into their life? What are some of the mindset that they should have throughout this tough period, I would say, in their business or in their life?
Okay, I guess I suffer from the same situation as well, because my clients are all over in China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and I mean, for those clients, I need to be physically there in order to do the feng shui. But because of the COVID situation, I can't actually travel. So that actually restricts my reach. Now, having said that, I guess for this period of time, we really have to sit back and really have to be contented with what we have. And that's the first thing. Rather than looking at, chasing after the business, we have to look at what other business do we have right now that we could actually so-called bank on, that we can actually depend on within our confines. And the other thing is that we do want to find out or have an idea how long this COVID is going to last, how long it's going to stretch into. And of course, we do have to adopt a mindset that we are just waiting out the time, looking out for opportunities that we could actually, so-called jump into, and thereon grow our business much more than, just thinking about the suffering at the current situation. So rather than looking at the problems, why not look at the opportunities that's actually abound, that this COVID situation actually allows.
Well, that is very powerful. Instead of focusing on the problems, what you're saying is that focus on the opportunities instead.
Yes.
All right. With that, from me, I'm really grateful that you are on this show today, because within just like 15 to 20 minutes, I really learned a lot from you. And one of the biggest takeaway that I have is to always take action, and at the same time, to always find a purpose in what you are doing, to find the motivation in what you are doing. With that, I would like to thank you for being here today. Thank you for your time, and thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me on your channel, and it's really a pleasure to be on.
Our pleasure
Thank
as
you.
well. Thank you so much.